ambulance! Call an ambulance! But not for me.
It's this week's edition of the NFC North Roundtable. A new era begins now, fellas. We are actively scouting for the future of our prospective teams. We got boots on the ground. Well, not every team has boots on the ground. As we talked last year, combine might be coming to an end at some point. But until that happens, we are in Naptown, ready to look at the future of the league while they prance and dance around on the field in their draws. Foster, Dave, let's start off the combine talk with what are heads of state, the HNICs, if you will. Well, HNICs for the Bears and the Lions are concerned, and just the guys in charge currently with the Vikings. Foster, one half of Bleachers and Speakers, heading up all things Detroit sports. What did Brad Holmes and them have to say?
Well, they made it pretty clear about what the focus of the draft will be. They definitely want some versatile guys on the offensive line. The offensive line, defensive line, in secondary are the high priorities. Specifically, the safety position as far as the secondary is concerned. But they also want some highly athletic prospects at the linebacker position. It looks like we will be moving on from Alex Anzalone, so we will need to address that situation. But specifically, guys that rate high in the relative athletic scores, the RAS. Our top linebacker at this current moment, Jack Campbell, had a 9.98 on the RAS. So they're looking for guys that kind of fit that mold, hopefully. But outside of that, the OC and DC also had some things to talk about. As far as Petzing is concerned, Petzing is concerned, he's plans to take a hands-off approach as far as letting it. He's not going to pound the table for his guys as far as personnel that we get through free agency and the draft. He's going to allow Brad Holmes to kind of do what he needs to do. And, find the guys that are going to be able to maximize their potential. He also stated that although he used a lot of, 13 personnel sets with the 3 tight ends or 2 tight ends or whatever. And he hopes to, regardless of, what his preference is, put the best 11 guys on the field. So if this, if that's spreading out with a lot more wide receivers and less tight ends, that's just, that's what he's going to do, to give us the best opportunity to, score as many points as we can. On the defensive side of things, they hope to address the explosive plays and the explosive plays as far as yardage is concerned. Kelvin Shepard knew exactly the amount of explosive plays down to how many passes and how many rushes, which there were a lot more passes. And, he took a lot of ownership as to why these things happen. There were a lot of plays that he felt he might not have been detail oriented enough, or may have, missed little, minor intricacies that may have, put the defense out there in bad situations. So, he made it through the process in the way that John Morton didn't. So I think he wants to clean up some things so that he can hang around a little bit longer. But those were the main topics as far as the press conference is concerned.
I did notice the same thing from, I believe it was Dan Campbell's, when his media availability. He was drumming on about Calvin Shepard, as you mentioned. I believe they say they're going to change the defensive scheme this coming season based on all the big plays they were giving up. You said, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think he said he wants to kind of fine tune things. They used the metaphor of ripping the band-aids and, just being a lot more upfront, no sugarcoating. Like I feel like there's a sense of urgency that, this is, we can't, we got to capitalize on the opportunity that we have. And, we took a firm step back last year. And the team was more healthy. I mean, we had some pretty bad, I mean, Brian Branch, Kirby Joseph. I mean, we had some pretty Terrion Arnold. We had some, pretty rough injuries last year, but I think that we felt that we were better equipped to combat that. So they definitely want to, turn over all the everything and make sure make sure they're more fine tuned coming into this year.
Okay. One last thing. Brad Holmes, he did talk a lot about that 2023 draft class. What well, how does he feel about the how that class is I guess producing up to now?
So, okay, so I didn't catch that part of it. I know I mean, from what I know, that's the draft class that that he's pretty much turned around and extended nearly everybody, if I'm not mistaken. But he likes to hang his hat on his ability to draft. Um, so yeah, he likes to keep his guys. He doesn't like to divert away to outsiders. He likes to lock his guys in.
Yeah, I think you mentioned it pretty much. Anzalone and some other players, those are the guys that he's probably deciding on not bringing back. But yeah, he does like to keep his guys in house. So we'll
Oh
keep an
yeah,
eye on now.
yeah, that class. That's about 50-50 though. Jack Campbell, Gibbs, Laporta, Branch, and then it gets dark after that.
Mm.
Top half, he was strong though.
Okay. Any players that you would prefer that they can just move away from?
Well, they already moved off of Hendon Hooker. Broderick Martin's already gone. Colby Sorsdale maybe is around, and then Antoine Green is gone. So the bottom half of it was a failure, but the top four have all made a Pro Bowl: Branch, Laporta, Campbell, and Gibbs.
Okay. Did they say anything about what they're gonna do with David Montgomery?
Dan Campbell pretty much said that he knows how I feel about him, so he didn't put it out there, but the understanding is that there's love there. And he said that the OC Petzing is a big fan of him, so they're hoping to move past that and keep it rolling. And then also Petzing did say that that as far as offensive efficiency, it's a moving target. On any given week, you might see 50 passes or 50 rushes. It all just kind of he wants to remain. He doesn't want to be predictable. He wants to not. He doesn't want to let the left hand know what the right hand is doing, and just remaining. But remaining versatile. We have the ability to do both. Goff can put in the air a whole bunch of times, but we also can play smash mouth NFC North football and just run 40 plus times with Gibbs and Montgomery as well.
Okay. I don't want to see a return to smash mouth football out of Detroit. Just being honest with you, there, bro. Dave, those skull guys out of Minnesota.
Yes.
Now you were saying backstage that the Minnesota brass, the people in charge of Minnesota, they didn't really have a script, well, a traditional media availability like the rest of us.
That is
so
correct.
But what did they say when they did talk to the press?
Well, and by the press, it was only a handful, 5 or 6 reporters, and they were all beat reporters.
They hiding something?
With the exception of possibly, if you want to call Kevin Seifert, he does national for ESPN, but he's also stationed in Minnesota. He was there, and that was Rob Brzezinski and Kevin O'Connell. They had to sit down with him, which is normal. That's normal. When you go to the combine, what had happened in the past is the GM would get up and speak at the podium, and then the head coach would speak the next day or whatever it was, or different time, and they'd answer questions from whoever's there. It could be like Kevin Smith of our network could be there asking questions. Well, they declined that opportunity this year, and they're not the first ones to do that. It's only 27, I think it is 27%, something like that, of head coaches are now doing it, and then a bigger majority of GMs are doing it. But it's still not 100%. So they decided no, we're out. We don't want to answer stupid questions, or how they view them as stupid questions. As in, well, what happened with Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah? All those sort of questions they don't want to answer. So they restricted it to just the breakfast with the two guys, which was normal. Our beat writers usually had a closed door session, and then there was normally more beat writers, but it is what it is. Now, it was quite the interesting sit down. It basically only covered one topic: J.J. McCarthy and what the Vikings are going to do in 2026 to find their franchise quarterback. Now, why it's interesting is that Rob Brzezinski says we're going to cast a wide net at quarterback. Okay, what's that mean? Okay, they're looking at every option. Trades, who's on the market, all that sort of stuff. And it could be JJ. We'll find out. It's interesting because they weren't specific. They were just generalized on what they were going to do. And it's like, well, all right, what's it mean when you're going to cast a wide net? Do you mean that, and Brzezinski said we're looking for a baseline quarterback in play that's effective. Well, yeah, I think every team would look for a baseline quarterback play that's effective. And what do you mean by effective? Playoffs, wins in the playoffs, Super Bowl. It throws up this whole bunch of questions that the fans want answered, but they don't know. Now, they asked about J.J. McCarthy, and Kevin O'Connell said he's our franchise quarterback. Said it back in 2024. And do they still feel the same? Kevin O'Connell says that he does have the same feelings for J.J. McCarthy. But, quote, was and will always continue to be strong, i.e. those feelings, and kind of thoughts or noise to the contrary. No, that was the wrong quote. Sorry. A lot of those feelings are still the same. It's just a timeline, or just the timeline is in a different place for us now than it was in 2024. So according to KOC, he feels the same about J.J. McCarthy. And I saw an interview with him today, and he basically does. He says, but he missed so much time due to injury, and then he's got to fix some stuff. We learned today he's out with a big quarterback coach out in California that has helped a whole bunch of people, and he's out there working on his mechanics and stuff, which is good. But the timeline changed. Well, I'm channeling my inner Zim Zoo, and Zim Zoo was a bit that Ted Glover, a former host of mine, used to do on the Daily Norseman, where he would translate what Mike Zimmer would say. because head coaches are notorious for going blah, 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 and saying nothing. And he would translate that to what it meant. And for Kevin O'Connell saying, yes, a lot of those feelings are the same. It's the timeline is in a different place for us. Well, the timeline is because Kevin O'Connell has to win this year. He can't wait. Now, does that mean JJ isn't the one? No, it doesn't. JJ may very well may be our starter, but it could be anywhere from Kyler Murray to Kirk Cousins to Aaron Rodgers or a whole slew of other quarterbacks. Mac Jones, who knows? We don't know yet. Did we get any indication from either KOC or Brzezinski? Nope. Other than they're going to cast a wide net. So this has been an interesting combine for the Vikings and the Vikings fans. They said basically a whole bunch of nothing, whole bunch of obvious stuff. We're making decisions. And Rob Brzezinski, God bless him, he's been with the team 27 years. He's an obvious cap guru, well respected in the league. He's been in the league 33 years, knows what he's doing, but he's going to run things through the draft, and then they're going to look for a new GM. It may be him if he wants it. He may not. He's turned down the position before. But he wants to see the Minnesota Vikings with a franchise quarterback. We all do. We haven't had one since Fran Tarkington. A long-term one. And as you all know, we've never won the Super Bowl. But it's been a frustrating few days. I'm waiting to see the guys in their underwear running 40-yard dash and lifting weights.
Can't wait.
That's what she said. Of those guys there, Dave, who would you prefer them to bring in to, I guess, push Mr. Nine? Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins, Kyler Murray, Spencer Rattler, Tanner McKee. Who is their preference?
Well, the Spencer Rattler one that came out here a couple days ago when he was on with Kay Adams was absolutely brilliant. And we've got a community member in T-Bass who's been an advocate for Spencer Rattler. And I thought that was interesting. It was good. Would I like Spencer Rattler to be a backup? Sure. Bring him on down. But he's still under contract is the problem. Same with Mac Jones. Mac Jones is under contract. Now, do I want Mac Jones? No, I think Mac Jones is Kirk Cousins' dollar store version. He's a statue. Can he complete passes and run the system? Oh, yeah. His arm isn't as good as Kirk Cousins, or at least as it was. So, no, I don't want Mac Jones either. Do I want Kyler Murray? One of the beat writers there is, we got to get Kyler Murray. And I'm like, no. Did you see what Warren Sharp said about him the other day?
What'd he say?
He read stats from Kyler Murray from 2022 to 2024 and what he's done. And they are miserable. Among 36 qualifying QBs since 2022, dead last in completion percentage. With throws over 25 yards. Dead last in EPA. Dead last in yards per attempt. Okay, so he said, all right, I'll shrink it down to 20-plus yards. Ranks 45 out of 46. 42nd in yards per attempt. And 40th in completion out of 46 QB. I think J.J. McCarthy in his 10 games rated better than that. 15 plus yards. Worst EPA amongst 51 quarterbacks. 47th in yards per attempt. 42nd in completion rate. All right, let's shrink it down even further. How about just throwing to the sticks? 10-yard plus. Last in EPA out of 43 quarterbacks. 41st in yards per attempt. 36 in completion percentage. Health and durability issues. He's hurt as much as J.J. McCarthy is. He's had one full season in the last 5 years. He's had his ACL. He's had a meniscus tear. He's had hamstring strains, sprained ankles, and he had a Lynn Frank type injury in his foot last year. Why do I want to replace J.J. McCarthy, who has better upside, and if you count his just last 4 games, a much better play, with a short dynamo that is Kyler Murray? But the biggest games, or the biggest stats, were how many games did he play when it was under 45 degrees? Outside. Obviously, he played in a dome. There was one, and it was, I think, Carolina, and it was barely under 45. He lost. How many games when the wind is greater than 15 miles an hour? One, and he lost. How many games did he play in precipitation? One, and he lost. So those that are watching that happen to be Steelers fans, AFC North folks that are talking about, let's get Kyler Murray, yeah, go right ahead. He's not going to work.
He's from Texas, too. He never played.
Well, I mean, I think you all are harping on the wrong stats here, man. I mean, his Call of Duty stats are elite from what I understand.
And they probably are.
That's worth something.
And if you want to hear me go off on him, I did a Vikings daily opener today where I talked about yesterday and the press conference, if you want to call it that, between the Vikings reps and Brzezinski and KOC. And I touch on all the quarterbacks, the ones that were mentioned, the ones that were not. It is interesting. Now, you ask me, who do I want coming in to back up J.J. McCarthy? I think it's going to be Anthony Richardson if he gets released from the Colts. Why? He was KOC's first draft crush. We tried to trade for Anthony Richardson to draft him. Didn't work. His second draft crush, Drake May, we tried to trade for, and the Pats said no. And we sort of settled on J.J. McCarthy. That's the way it sort of works out. It just seems that way.
Excellent segue there, Dave. Speaking of KOC and his crushes, did they mention, and I know it seems as if the Vikings brass, they wanted to control the narrative. They wanted only a certain amount of information out there. But was there any mention of them hiring a permanent GM?
That the ownership has talked about it. They'll do the search after the draft.
Okay. All right. Well, we got a long way to get through. I think we got just under 3 months into the draft. Yeah. So
it's a ways. And if Brzezinski wants it, it's probably going to be basically his. But if he doesn't, we're going to look. And we've got a whole list. We've gone through, at least I've gone through, a whole list of possible candidates. And we'll see. There's a whole bunch of assistant GMs, including the Lions. And but we'll find out. It could be the guy that was fired from the Bills, for all I know. It's
Ken Dorsey.
So,
all right. What about those Packers? Did anybody notice what the Packers got going on?
Who cares?
I got a question. I got a question. Do you all know how long it's been since the Packers won a game?
How long?
80 days. Not that I'm counting anything. Not that I'm keeping track.
Apparently not.
Okay.
80 whole days. But moving past that, yes, Foster. During the media availability for the Bears, Brands, Ben Johnson was asked by, I believe, Mike Florio, what's up with the rivalry with the Packers? Is it just for show? Are we just doing a WWE thing? He said no. He stood on it, 10 toes down there. He said the Bears should not like the Packers, and it's vice versa. He said, but what about you? What about you? Do you talk to LaFleur and them up there? He's like, for what? No, they haven't reached out to me. I don't talk to them. I don't need them, and that's why that's my coach. Statue on the way. No, no Pat Riley. He ain't gonna wait 40 years for this statue.
I asked about what about McCaskey? They don't like you cussing. Oh,
it's a new era.
Oh, McCaskey's on my side. Fully agrees.
Exactly. New era. But there were more than just those type of questions bantied about to the Bears. And yet more important stuff other than what the basement of the divisions got going on. So Ben Johnson was asked if it's true that he no, wrong one. Ben Johnson was asked to identify one play that stood out to him the most from the season. And he played coy about all that type of stuff, and whether or not he went back and did the review on the last game of the season when we lost to the Rams. And he had to get away from football. He hasn't even gotten into that part of this stuff yet, but there will be time for that, and that'll probably be after the combine. More important stuff that was asked to Ryan Poles, general manager of the Chicago Bears, was the left tackle situation, what we got going on there. He was asked for his evaluation of the left tackle class, and that he is interested in getting a new starter at 25 with the Bears draft in the first round. Whether or not that happens, we shall see, and we will talk about the combine results coming up next after that.
But why is the reason they're looking for a new starter?
Ozzie Trapillo, the guy who started the most games this season at left tackle, I don't think he's going to play next season with a patellar tendon rupture. Whether or not he's the big guy is going to be able to get back out there.
Well, he's gone through
earlier
surgery
than my estimate. I don't know if he actually had the surgery yet, but okay. That's one of those things that takes a while to fix, especially somebody his size. He's 6'8".
Oh, I know.
He's 6'8". He's a mountain of a man. Speaking of, did you all watch Game of Thrones?
Yes.
You all, you look like you watch Game of Thrones there, Dave. You look like you're from the north. Yeah, you're Stark. You're
like this show, Who Will Be King, got named after it.
There you go.
Who's going to be king of the north?
It all tracks. You're not out there review bombing Breaking Bad, are you? You're not one of those guys, are you?
No, I'm not.
No. Okay. All right. Just making sure. Yeah, I don't know if you heard about that. There's a war going on in the streets, Game of Thrones versus Breaking Bad right now, but later for that. Some other things that they talked about. Obviously, the media did try to, bait Poles and Ben Johnson into some stadium talk, and they did not take the bait. They said, "Hey, I'm a toe the company line here. Smart people. They know what they're doing. Let's just let the politics do what they got to do there." But there was some things that did come from this. It has been reported that Ryan Poles did say that there will be some tough decisions becoming made, and today, as it been reported, that Tremaine Edmonds, starting middle linebacker for Chicago Bears, is available to seek trade counterparts. So we also
I'm willing to swap him for Javon Hargrave.
Let's talk backstage.
Secret.
The problem is they carry the same amount of money.
Yeah, that's probably not going to work for the Bears. Bears fans were anticipating he was going to be a salary cap cut anyway. So if he can be traded for something, that's a win. Whether or not we're taking back on the same kind of money, I don't know if that still clears the bar as far as a win. We need to get under that cap. Well, the Bears aren't dramatically over it, but it is. It is new territory for the Bears, who've had a ton of cap money the last 3 years, and now we're 10 over. But those are spoils
when you have a ton of cap money because you sucked.
Because we sucked. I mean, that's the easiest way to say it. When you're tanking and not winning games, you're probably not paying good players. You're probably paying a bunch of young players. Now we're a veteran team now. Those contracts they're up there. So 10 over. That's where that goes. As far as the trade market, the Bears said they will be aggressive in the trade market as well. As I just said, Tremaine Edmonds is available. Probably Kevin Byard, but from my understanding, they do like Kevin Byard. They do probably want to figure out a way to bring him back. And DJ Moore, that name is a real thing now. He is being shopped. So stay tuned on those fronts. And when we come back on the other side of this break, we're going to talk about the first day of actual underwear Olympics. I know, Dave, settle down. We will get right to it. If watching live, we'll be right back.
Need a Garrett's popcorn break.
All right there. So, fellas, I know we've got a couple of names out there that you are interested in seeing at some point during this week. What are some of those names, Dave? Those players, we talked about those players last week, but what in particular do you want to see out of those players this weekend? It's like, times, body weight, length of arms. You tell me, what's some of the players and the attributes you're looking for?
Well, on offense, I want to check out Casey Concepcion, wide receiver from Texas A&M. Heard great things about him. Want to check out his 40 time, his agility, his catch radius, all that sort of stuff. Would he fit? He's only 5'11". Now, 5'11", 190. He's about the size of Jordan Addison. Right. Now, could he come in and play, especially if Jordan Addison is traded? That's why I'm looking at Casey Concepcion. Not just Jordan Addison, Jalen Naylor is. If they go wide receiver in the first round, that's about where he would land, I would think. 18th-ish. And so I'm looking to see, does what we've watched in college, very little, the clips of it, match, stand out in Indianapolis? Does he have a good workout? Because, and this goes for all players, if a player comes in and has a bad workout, that's not the end of that player. It means the draft rooms have to go back and go on, how did he play? And running a 40-yard dash in the stadium does not equal what does he do on the field. They got it all now in GPS tracking data. So, but it's the whole jump through hoops, do the medical, do the interviews, do this, do that, do this, do that. Come in and, jump how high you can jump how far you can jump, do the drills, all that sort of stuff. And it matters. You want to see how the guy melds in with other people, especially people he doesn't know. And when it comes to wide receivers, how is he working with a quarterback he has never caught a pass from? Does he make the adjustments? Things like that. Now, the other person I'm interested in, and this will be a theme probably across the North, is I'm interested in Jake Slaughter, center from Florida. Now, is he a first rounder? No. He's second or third, max. Max second. But he's a 6'4", 300+ pound center. Now, the Vikings may have need for a center. Do we have a couple backups? Yes, we do. Blake Brandel and Brian Juergens. But do they want a long-term or a more long-term answer, especially if they want to keep Blake as the sixth man since he plays all the positions? I don't know. So I want to see. How does he handle the snap position drills? How's he being explosive? How does he move if he's going to be pulling and stuff like that? Those are things that I'm looking for. We'll find out. Does it, validate what he did during the season? Those two on the offense. On the defense, my choice to look at is Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, safety, Toledo. Most likely, the Minnesota Vikings are going to be in need of a safety to replace Harrison Smith.
We speak the same language there.
Oh, I know. And I get told there's Thieneman, whatever, from Oregon. And I'm not impressed. I want to see if I can be impressed by Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. We'll see. He's 6'2", good size, just under 210 pounds, perfect size for a safety. He works good up in the box. He works good in the back. Let's see how he runs his 40. I want to see what his 40 time is. Stuff like that. How he can move in the drills. Are the hips stiff? Got to have oily hips. All that sort of stuff. And then the next defender I'm looking at is Caleb Banks, defensive tackle out of Florida. He's a big dude, 6'6", 335 pounds.
Yeah.
But he's built more like an edge rusher than he is a defensive tackle. Now, his stats sort of went down when they moved him to nose this year, but that was because they played him at nose the whole time. He's more of a 3 to 5 technique than what in the 3-5 defense we call defensive end.
Mm-hmm.
And the question is, could we use him there? Absolutely. So I'm looking for him to see how fast he is. I expect a 5'2", 40 or less. I want to see him explode that first 10 yards on a 40, that sort of stuff. Look at his arm length, confirm it, the whole works.
Length is good. Mm-hmm. What they tell me.
Mm-hmm. That's what the girls say.
Yeah. That is what they say.
It's the motion of the ocean.
Yeah, that's a good argument as well. It's how you work.
Oily hips.
Yeah.
Hey, definitely need the oily hips.
But
anyway, Foster, let's what prospects are you more interested in seeing this week?
Well, we interviewed a lot of linebackers, edge rushers, and O-linemen. But the number one guy on my list on the defensive side of the ball is TJ Parker. We already interviewed him at the combine, and he had a big Senior Bowl. He had a down season in general. He only had 5 sacks. He had 11 last year. So, they do say that there's kind of a drop once you get past the top 3 edge rushers, and he's kind of in that next crop of things, which at 17, that's kind of where he'll land. But yeah, he had 11 sacks and 6 forced fumbles last year. But he's a good edge setter, which Dan Campbell likes his edge rushers to be able to set the edge and defend the run. He's real effective with his hands in converting power to speed. Not the most fleet of foot guy, so I'm not super, not worried about his 40 time, but I do want to, as far as the hand size, arm length, I do want to see how he measures up in that as far as that category. But he's got a good motor, which they like. And he also has the ability to drop into coverage as well, which, it can be important at times. Hutch had an interception last year against Stafford and the Rams. So they do like to utilize that at times. The other guy defensively, I guess we all need safeties. Obviously, Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch are both had season-ending injuries, and there's some. We know Branch is going to be out for a while, but there's some discrepancy about what Kirby Joseph has got going on. So Kamari Ramsey, he's a second-round option. He's a safety out of USC. And he's versatile. He can play safety. He can play nickel. We may have a hole at the nickelback position as well, with Amik Robertson possibly leaving. So he shows a willingness to play the run, and he has the temperament to also be that last line of defense at the free safety position. And as far as the athleticism, I mean, as far as the things that I'm looking forward to as far as his workout, I guess, agility and, obviously I want a guy that's got some ball skills. So, a guy, so the vert, all that type of stuff is important. As far as on the offensive side of the ball, Caden Proctor has been the hot name. He's a mammoth of a human being. You talked about a 6'8" tackle. He's 6'7", 360 pounds. And he has a high run game upside, which, we like to be able to run the ball. So that's important. And, Taylor Decker has made an announcement saying that he's coming back for his 11th year, which got some mixed results as far as how people feel about that. But he missed some time last year, and he's kind of a shell of himself. So, Caden could definitely be the predecessor to him. He's a Bama guy. We like those Bama guys. We've got some good success. And another school that we've had some success with is Iowa. So I'm looking at Jennings Dunker, who's another versatile option at the offensive line position. He would likely start inside, and he will be able to eventually convert to the tackle position when Taylor Decker leaves. But he's another. Versatility is kind of the name of the game for us. We've had issues on the interior and exterior. So the fact that he has the ability to play both is something that we like.
The computer has you on offense checking out centers.
Yes.
Sam Heck out of Kansas State and Connor Liu. Now, Connor Liu is the best center in the class, but he injured himself and he won't be ready. So whoever takes him is going to take him on a flyer.
And we also said that we might move Tate Ratledge to center as well. So that kind of shifts the focus, I guess, to the still possibly tackle, but it opens up a spot at the interior position opposite Christian Mahogany too.
Mm-hmm. Well, generally with the offensive line, you want the five best guys playing, if possible. If that means Ratledge moves, that means Ratledge moves. But Ratledge has got durability questions, doesn't he?
Oh, he played all last year.
Okay.
Mahogany got hurt. Decker was obviously hurt. Sewell was healthy. Tate, I think, I don't know if he took every snap, but he took snaps in every single game. He was hurt. He was hurt his senior year. He definitely missed time his senior year.
So for the Bears, kid I'm looking at is the first kid I'm looking at is coming out of Notre Dame. Jadarian Price, I believe is how you say his name. The thing I want to see from him, I want to see that speed. Now, DeAndre Swift, he's got good speed. He's played all over the place, Philly, Detroit, some other places. We came to the Bears, real good speed. But but for the kid that's Price, he's got elite speed, and I want to see him put that on display in Naptown. Might give Ben Johnson a little bit more of what he had with Jahmyr Gibbs, and that's first thing I'm looking for out of Mr. Price. Another player that I want to see, Caden McDonald. Preferably, well, not preferably, but the thing I want to see from him, I want to see his wingspan. He's an interior lineman. I want to see what type of down lineman. So he's primarily working on the inside. So I want to see what type of wingspan he's working with. I also want to see how tall he is. I want to see the measurables above the waist. I do have some concerns about his weight. I want to see where he weighs into. Not necessarily like a boxing match, but if he comes in like closer to 350, I'm gonna knock some points off of his score. I want to see him come in around 325, 335, 350. That's a little too hefty for me. So I'm interested to see where that comes in with him, because, and you all did mention safeties. So the Bears are definitely going to be in the need for safeties. Both of our safeties were free agents coming up. There's rumors that Jaquan Brisker will not be retained. That sucks. We're all fans of Kwani, as Tiff likes to call him. And Kevin Byard, he's an all-pro. Just had an all-pro season. So why would you want to get rid of an all-pro? So, but there's tough decisions got to be made. However, in this draft, we are definitely looking at Mr. McNeil out of Oregon, right? I think he's very athletic. I think I saw that he's supposed to be in a 4.44-3 type range. I know Philadelphia's looking at him, and if Philadelphia's got their eye on him, you definitely want to also make sure you got your eye on him. So those are three guys that I'm also checking out. Also, CJ Allen, Sonny Styles. I want to see their speed. Mostly their shuttle speed. Those are linebackers, so I want to see how well they get it. Be able to move in and out of tight spots. Because if Tremaine Edmonds is going to be gone, his backups, even though DeMarco Jackson was a pretty good backup, you still got Noah Sewell, and we don't want to put the defense in the hands of Noah Sewell, not as the green dot. No, sir. So those are just some of the five guys that I'm checking out in particular. Did I mention Parker Edge from Clemson? Yeah, another one. I want to see. I saw him at the Senior Bowl, got to watch that, and I think there's something there. I think he's going to be a top 15 pick, though. He might not be even in the conversation for the Bears, but if he does, and if he shows what he's supposed to show in Indianapolis, don't even worry about it. But I'm interested. As Dave said, I'm gonna just come on out there too. I like the underwear Olympics. I like to see the guys. I like to see the guys perform in the draws. So, yeah.
It's what it is. It has been that way for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So now for the Packers. I looked it up. Computer says Sam Hecht, center, Kansas State. He's a big guy who demonstrates strength and intelligence, blah, blah, blah. And they've got him late day one, if not day two or early day three. Trey Zoom.
You said he's smart?
Supposedly.
Centers.
Most centers generally are. They're very smart.
He might process out for the Packers then.
Right. Yeah, that doesn't sound like a fit then.
Yeah. No.
Then they go, further out. Well, could be both, but Trey Zoom play center or tackle. He's a SEC left tackle plus time at center, so he's got player flexibility. And I guess Green Bay's looking for a center. So on the defensive side, I'm hearing Chris Johnson, cornerback, San Diego State. They think he could be a hidden gem. And then also defensive tackle, Zane Durant, which is a name I was not completely familiar with, or Chris McClellan. Durant's out of Penn State and McClellan's out of Missouri. They're supposedly relatively fast for defensive tackles, 4.7, 40s. We'll see. But it's interesting to see which direction they're going. all four of us are basically in the same areas. Safeties, centers, defensive tackles, linebackers.
Look like we're all vying for the same type of player.
Mm-hmm.
Don't like that.
Around the same time, too.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Well, we don't have to worry about that. I forgot the Packers don't have a first round draft pick.
Yeah, they got to wait till the second.
Yeah, they can stay home on Thursday, eat their cheese, and nachos with all their cheeses and all that stuff. But
Unless they want to trade up.
Ooh, haven't they had enough trades right now? Haven't they figured out? Let's just sit back and wait.
Who knows? You got to remember they're now under the new GM this year. That took over at the end of last year.
Right. You know what? They can go ahead and trade some more. Do your thing. Make it so that you don't have any picks next year. That'll be fine. I think we all like that for the much. Foster, what you all got coming up at Bleachers to Speakers?
Draft coverage. It's now that we got some combine stuff, we'll be able to have some up-to-date information as far as workouts and stuff like that. So it's time to ramp up. We still got a ways to go before the draft itself, but you can never start too soon. And why not kick it off around the time of the Underwear Olympics? So should be a whole lot of coverage once the combine plays out. And of course, Tigers. The Pistons are big game tonight against OKC. So the Pistons coverage and the Tigers spring training. We're looking real shaky right now. Well, it's early, but yeah. Every Sunday you can catch me and Coach on Corner to Copa.
Got it. Dave.
Over at Vikings First and Skull, we've got Tyler will be on tomorrow night for the Real Forno show. And then Darren and I on Sunday afternoon for Who Will Be King. This is Who Will Be King for two old bloggers. And we'll be discussing the combine and the direction everybody's going. Well, it should be interesting. It should be fun. And we're constantly trying to pump out, or I'm trying to pump out and connect with our Skull Search, where we're looking at different players. I'm sure we'll have another one of those come out by the end of this week, and we're pressing on towards the draft.
Awesome. Make sure you all follow those great channels. I follow them. I watch Dave and two old bloggers and everything else he's got going on over there. I love it. And also I'm always checking in on Foster and June and Coach over there, Bleachers to Speakers. I'm always tapping in. You guys keep me well abreast about what else is happening.
Are you going to change your name once the Bears move to Hammond in Indiana?
The Bears are not moving to Hammond, so that is a no.
We'll see.
I did want to finish the show on a note. Warning, this note is going to contain references of suicide. So if you or someone you know is having any thoughts of suicide, you need support right now, please call or text 988. You can also check with the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline at 988lifeline.org. This is about a football player who reportedly took his life over the weekend. Only 25 years old. Rondale Moore. He had season-ending knee injuries in back-to-back preseasons. It's not about the fact that he's a professional athlete who 10 years to the day of his passing, he posted a note to himself saying that please be patient. That kind of hit hard and not in the good way. So there's no way to gauge someone else's suffering in this world. You know, we project what we think someone else is dealing with. We perceive what we assume that someone is suffering just because of what they put out there on social media or how you see them in the day to day. Same way you would assume someone's in the happiest marriage and they're going through it, or they're the happiest person in the world and they're not. I just want to say that no matter who you are or what you got going on, you are not alone. You do have resources. You do have someone that can help. Definitely reach out to 988 if you are needing of help, because we don't want to see any more of those type of stories coming out, not in sports or just in anywhere else. So thanks everyone for watching. NFC North, who will be king? NFC North Roundtable next week, same time, same channel.
Thanks for listening to this latest episode from the Frustrated Chicago Sports Fan Channel. Don't matter if you listen to this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or watch it on Twitch or YouTube. Make sure you like, subscribe, share with a friend, hit the notification bell so you never miss a drop. And to all the guys from Chicago, we say three things: bear down, go Cubs go, and sell the team, Jerry.